afternoon. My name is Kylie Odell, and I'm the president of Manatee High School's Key Club. As many of you know, November is recognized as Key Club Month by Kiwanis International. During this month, we promote Key Club and participate in activities designed to recognize those who support us. Every year, we celebrate with you, our sponsored club, to thank you all for all of your support you have given us over these years. So on behalf of the Manatee High School Key Club, I'd like to say thank you for supporting us and making our club one of the most successful in the state. On that note, I'd like to welcome all of you to the Manatee High School and Kiwanis Bradenton joint meeting. Please welcome Leanne Ann Peak as she leads us reciting the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Leanne. Next, I would like to welcome Katie Evans to lead us in the singing of Katie Evans and Leanne Peak and Samantha Gupton in leading us in the country theme song.
My country 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountain side, let freedom ring.
Leading us in our invitation is Victor Susan Aga.
Creator and sustainer of all that is or will ever be, accept our thanks for this day and all its blessings. We ask that you guide and direct our club, its leaders, and our actions. Grant that each of us may feel our responsibility to Rotary, to our community, to our country, and indeed to all countries and peoples. Bless our fellowship today in our service. Amen.
Please enjoy each other's companies and the rest of your lunch, and we'll be back at 12:30 for our program.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome all the Key Clubbers. We had a great Saturday for Boys and Girls Club at the Christmas tree festivities, I'll call it. It sure gets you in the Christmas spirit. And we knocked out a large amount just in the first few days. So out of 700 trees, we were just talking, there's down to maybe 100, something like that, Dawn, I think. So congratulations for that. With that being said, the volunteers for this coming Sunday afternoon, check in with me or maybe look at Portal Buzz beforehand because we may sell out, right, Dawn? That's what we're hoping for. All right, but thanks for all the help there. And also thanks for the Manatee Key Clubbers. You guys really helped out a lot during that, so we appreciate it very much. We have the 10th and 11 bell ringing for Salvation Army. So please check Portal Buzz as well. We need some afternoon volunteers still, so please take a look at it. And Key Clubbers, if you want, We'd love to have you at those bell ringing events as well. We have Wreaths Across America on Saturday, December 18th. We can get on Portal Buzz, and there are some links that Mac put in there to sponsor a wreath. So go ahead and take a look at that. And the Salvation Army Angel Tree, we've done a great job on that. Just remember to bring your unwrapped gifts next week. That'll be our final meeting this year. That's all I have. Thank you.
Next, we have the introduction of guests by V. Spanos.
Soja Cleveland, Susan Morocco, Aaron Craig, Jay Hoffmeister, Steve Norman, Tom Parks, new SCF basketball coach, and CKI advisor.
So next up, we have a piece of Key Club history. Manatee High School started Key Club in 1940, and only boys were allowed to participate at that time. Girls weren't allowed to join Girls weren't allowed to join or participate until a later date. I am thankful that girls were eventually allowed to join Key Club, because if not, I would not be standing here today. And Key Club has been one of the best experiences of my high school years. Lastly, on behalf of Manatee High School Key Club, we would like to thank you for all your unwavering support of the Manatee High School Key Club. Now Gilbert Smith will come up and finish up the history.
We're going to do some makeup today, and I'm going to give you a clue for the history trivia question next week. We're going to cover 3 terms of presidents, and the first one is Vernon Desir. And Vernon Desir, if you've been in Bradenton a long time, you know that his name is a household name because of the appliance store that he and his family had here for over 40, 50 years. Very successful. He was a World War II veteran and was our president in 1971 and 72. Now, he was the president when we celebrated our 50th anniversary at the club, and at that time there was a cabinet officer of President Ford's cabinet that lived here in Manatee County, Earl Butts. He was the Secretary of Agriculture. And he periodically appeared at the lunches in Kiwanis during that time, and he was the speaker on that date. The next president is 1972 to 73, and that's Stan Lujak. And Stan played minor league baseball for a while, and he had a strong interest in sports. In fact, he wrote an article for the Bradenton Herald every week on the sports section. So a lot of the programs he brought to the club were involved in sports. Tragically, a year or two after he had served as president, he died at the young age of 58. Now, during that time, and I have headlines up here, this is 1972. 1972, remember that date because that's some 15, 20 years before women were involved in this club. 1972, many clubs in the United States, local clubs, were allowing women to join. In fact, it wasn't the women's idea, it was the men's of these clubs. And they wanted them to join, but Kiwanis International was opposing it and continued to do that. They brought amendments to the conventions each year, and they were voted down. And in 1972, that's what happened. And it was voted down to amend the Constitution to allow women. That was 1972. I'm going to talk more about this in the next few weeks. Next photo is Archie Powell, and Archie Powell was our president in 72 to 74. And he was a World War II veteran, also a colonel, retired colonel, but he was with the tax assessor's office, which became known as the property appraiser's office. And after he had served there for quite a few years, just working as an assistant deputy, he was appointed by the governor and he served a term. Okay, now here's the clue. Archie Powell was known as the Azalea Man, so the question next week may sound like Azalea. Just remember that for those of you that show up next week. He had a house on 59th Street, and he grew many, many azaleas, and people came from all over to see it. Now the first club, for one of the first clubs, and maybe the first club in the United States that had women joining, was in Great Neck, New York. Some of you from New York may know where Great Neck, New York is. I don't know where it is. Bill might know. Rhode Island. So, Long Island, not Rhode Island. That might be the answer next week. So, and so Great Neck, Kiwanis Club, did bring some women in to their club as members. And in fact, Kiwanis International threatened to pull their charter. And in fact, they did. So you'll find out next week what happens about that. So next week, I'll be talking about the 1974-75 president. And that was the year before the Bucks came to town, which you're going to hear more about next week. So thank you very much. Now, Dr. Probstfeld is here, and I'm going to ask Carol Probstfeld to come on up, if she would, and she can introduce the program that we have now from State College of Florida.
Thank you, Gilbert. It's my pleasure to be able to introduce to you Dr. Robin Bell, and then she will be introducing to you the students who are playing for us today. I'm not going to do a traditional type of introduction of Dr. Bell because I could spend the next 20 minutes talking about her awards, recognitions, degrees, etc. Let's just say that she did most recently earn her doctorate in musical arts from Boston University. But she has all the degrees before that, awards and recognitions before and after that. But what I wanted to do is share a little bit about what Dr. Bell has brought to the State College of Florida in the last 12 years. First, I'd like to say that Dr. Bell is one of our best recruiters. The music program has grown every year since she's been here. Along with her colleagues, we have over 100 students participating in the music program now. And when you think about it, recruiting for music is a lot like recruiting for basketball or baseball, because you need to make sure you have all the right instruments staffed in order to host an orchestra or a jazz combo or a string quartet. So every year, Dr. Bell and her colleagues are out in our local high schools and all around the state of Florida looking for wonderful musicians to join us. And they do exactly that. We dominate when it comes to the statewide competition. We come home with more awards every year than any other of the 28 colleges, and I couldn't be more proud. Dr. Bell is also an outreach leader. With over 50 performances a year, our music program brings people to our college campus that may never have been there before, introduces people to live music who may never have had the opportunity to see live music before, but awesome outreach to bring people to the college to see what's available right here in their community. Dr. Bell is also an idea generator. She brought live music back to our commencement program. Used to all be recorded, but under Dr. Bell's leadership, we have March of the Nobles, we have the Manatee Lyric Overture, and Pomp and Circumstance, of course, every year, or twice a year, for our commencement. Dr. Bell also came to me with this idea early on in my young presidency to say, we should really have a presidential string quartet and a presidential jazz combo. They can sort of follow you around in the community, and people can get to know what we do in our music program at the State College of Florida. So the program is now 6 years old, and we couldn't be more proud of our students, like those who are here today, who are on full scholarship. And part of what they do in exchange for that scholarship is to be out in the community and let people know about the State College of Florida and what we do with our music program. Dr. Bell then, a couple years later, came to me with the idea that we should start a Bradenton Symphony Orchestra. We should get together not only the wonderful professional musicians in our community, but our college musicians as well, and put on our own Bradenton Symphony Orchestra. So now the Symphony Orchestra is in its 4th or 5th year, and it does a number of performances a year with professionals in the community as well as students at the State College of Florida. Dr. Bell is also a creative problem solver. We all had to deal with COVID, but it hit the arts in a very unique and special way. When you think about all these performers who want to do nothing more than perform, to not have an audience, to not be able to get together in close groups and perform, but they figured out a way to do it. We bought these ridiculous masks that look like ducks, but that were developed in Hollywood or in Broadway, so that musicians and singers could be together and not spread this disease. Found out a way to spread our students out so they could play it together in their orchestras and in their different ensembles, but maintain safe distancing. And I'm proud to say that we did not have any kind of infection outbreak. Our students stayed healthy. The only downside is when we performed to an empty 830-seat theater, but we were able to live stream that music for every performance that we had. And as a right of presidential privilege, I had the opportunity to be one of the only 2 or 3 people in the audience to see those performances. And boy, it sure was nice that those students had that opportunity when a lot of their colleagues around the state did not have that. But that was the brilliance and the creativity of our faculty that allowed that to happen. They also did something rather creative by starting with a student and letting them play their part independently on their own, record it, send it to the next student, have them record their part on top of it, and so on down the line. So at the end of it, you actually had a beautifully orchestrated piece of music. Wonderful creativity and coordination with the students as well as the faculty. But that wasn't enough for Dr. Bell. She said music and the arts during COVID isn't really getting the exposure it needed to get. So she started the Suncoast Culture Club podcast. So every week, Dr. Bell interviews somebody in this 2-county region to talk about what's going on in the arts. And she started that during COVID, and it continues today. You can actually go and listen to the podcast, I believe, that's out now, about our concert coming up this Thursday. It is our holiday concert at the Neal Performing Arts Center. It's called Believe. Only $15 for a ticket. And if you can't get in the Christmas spirit after being at that concert, you must be related to Scrooge. Just before Thanksgiving, Dr. Bell said, you know, we always run into issues at this time of the year with food insecurity, and so we wanted to make sure we could restock our food pantry for our students before the holidays. So she came up with the idea of a concert called Beat Hunger. What we did, or what she did, was brought together middle school and high school drum lines and percussion ensembles to come to the college and play along with the college students, and it was all percussion. So it was a very, very lively concert, but the price of admission was 2 cans of food. So we were able to stock our food pantry, provide some amazing music, and give an opportunity for the middle and high school kids in our 2-county region to come join us in the beautiful Neal Performing Arts Center. And Robin is also a fundraiser. Over the last several years, when Robin came up with the idea for the presidential groups, we said, okay, how are we going to pay for this? Robin, along with the SCF Foundation and myself, went out and we found the individuals who were willing to support these students, and we continue to do that today. During that time, as this program was growing, we outgrew our space and said we need a new place for these students to practice and a new venue for them to play in. So we started our capital campaign to raise $7 million for our studio for the performing arts, and Robin was a key part of that, along with our presidential groups who were out performing and letting people know what we can do if you help us build what we need. And then what I'll let Robin talk more about is money that was raised to fund new programs. One of the largest gifts in the history of the music program will allow us to expand our program even further. And the gentleman who donated this gift to us, he said, you know, Dr. Probstfeld, you don't need to be the biggest music program in the region, but there's no reason why you can't be the best. And we're well on our way. Her mind never stops working, so come see her in action at the concert this Thursday. Robin is without a doubt one of the most talented, hardworking, and creative people I have ever known. She has a pretty good sense of humor, too. Please join me in giving a warm Kiwanis welcome to Dr. Robin Bell.
I don't have to tell you about this lady, do I? She is a gem. We're so grateful to have her at the State College of Florida. And when things start to go wrong, I just think to myself, I've got a great leader, and it goes back on focus. So thank you for those kind words, Dr. Probstfeld. I really appreciate it. I want to take just a second to introduce to you the students who performed for you and a little bit about where they're from and what they plan to do with their life. And we'll go kind of in what we call score order. So we'll start with Nick Kovalev, our first violinist. Nick, stand up. Nick is from Port Charlotte, and he drives to Bradenton, to the State College of Florida, every day for music classes. He's a music major and wants to be a professional violin performer. And he's taking up a donation for his gas money as we speak. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you, Nick. Second violin is Abe Lara. Abe? Abe is a graduate of Manatee High School. He plays, as I said, the violin, and he is also a music major. What do you want to be when you grow up, though? Music educator. He wants to be like me. Yeah. All right, he wants to be like me. Good, and we have him well on our way here at the State College of Florida. Thank you, Abe. Our violist in the group is second-year student Lucy Crank. Lucy comes to us from Lakewood Ranch High School, and she she is going to be a nurse. She's in our nursing program at the State College of Florida. And the big bad bass of the string quartet is the cello, and this is Ken Brookfield. And Ken also comes to us from Lakewood Ranch High School, and Ken wants to be a brain surgeon. No, that's not right. Ken, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Well, I'm in technology right now. I'm learning.
Cybersecurity. Ken's going into cybersecurity, my friends. He's going to protect your internet for the rest of his life. So this is this year's Presidential String Quartet. As Dr. Probstfeld say, they are all on a full scholarship. They rehearse separately and once a week with our cello teacher, who's their coach, and they have about 14 to 16 additional performances a year on top of what they do. They also all play in the Bradenton Symphony Orchestra. And if you don't mind, Dr. Probstfeld, I would be very remiss if I didn't recognize the Manatee High School key clubbers that are here because, and I wish I knew all of them, but I know one particularly well, and you need to know a little bit more about her. Katie Evans, where are you, Katie? You sang so beautifully. So let me tell you how I know Katie. Katie is a French horn player. She was the drum major of Manatee High School this year. And she played in our chamber music camp that we had. And so as soon as I saw Katie, not knowing she was here with the Key Club, I was like, did you bring your French horn? So we have lots of talented students in our region, and we hope that Katie considers the State College of Florida when she graduates. I'm going to continue on with the historical theme a little bit, and forgive me if I don't do this correctly. I think I have it right. There it is. I'm going to talk to you about SCF music from the bus barn to the studio for the performing arts. And this information just came to me this summer, and I was totally shocked. This is a man named Andy Wright. And Andy Wright is no longer alive, although that's a very good picture of him at some point in his life. Andy Wright moved to Sarasota in 1956. He had a trombone performance degree from Juilliard and a music education degree from Columbia University. And he was offered a job at the State College of Florida to be the band director, of which he turned down because the band had to rehearse in the bus barn. They had no building. And he said, I can't work like that. He got a job offer at Sarasota High School, where he worked for his entire career. There's a good point to this story in the end. And to think that the beginning of what was then Manatee Junior College music program started in a bus barn, and where I get to go walk in to my job every day is truly remarkable. When Andy passed away, his wife took a collection, and they now have a scholarship at Sarasota High School. The student that gets that has to come to the State College of Florida, and if they do, they get $1,000 a semester for their education. So it turned out to be okay for some of the current students, but I want to thank Andy for turning that job down, because I also probably would not work in a bus barn. Music in a bus barn? Look, I even found a picture of a bus barn for you. It may be hard to see. It's in the background. So this is a great article someone sent me. They had scanned it in, Music at Manatee Junior College. And this is an article in a music education journal at the time. There's no date on it, but it was when it was Manatee Junior College. And it talked about the comprehensive music program we've had. So we've had a great history of music education at State College of Florida through all of the various names that it's undergone. And it's funny because some of the people performing there, for instance, it's kind of hard to tell, but the very top person there to the left, she's playing a violin. That is Sherry Butler Lowe. Yes, so somebody might know Dr. Butler, the vet. Sherry Lowe was the orchestra teacher at Manatee High School for 30 years. She is Manatee Junior College graduate, and she is in this photo, and it says Cheryl Butler there underneath. So we have these wonderful connections. We've put out a lot of really talented musicians and music educators all throughout. And then Manatee, Music at Manatee Community College. I did manage to find an old MCC banner there. And you can still see here, we have performers. We had, I've seen pictures on like the outside lawn. We still have the same chairs they were sitting in. I go, oh my gosh, I recognize that chair. We never throw anything away at SCF. And then this is music at the State College of Florida now. So let me see if I can't get that to work right. There you go. This is the Bradenton Symphony Orchestra and the concert choir all thrown together. And there's 4 soloists down front. Those are all alumni of the State College of Florida that sang solo roles in this particular performance. We have a harpsichord in the center that's right in front of me there. That was an instrument donated to the State College of Florida. There's no other state college that has a harpsichord. Pretty cool. And this is, to me, just an iconic picture of what we have to offer in music making and music education at SCF. And my friends, it's all in the numbers. Dr. Probstfeld already touched on some of these things, but we have over 100 students performing in our various ensembles. 40 of those are music majors that intend to go on in their life to make real money being a musician. Can you imagine? We give away $100,000 a year in ensemble scholarships for these 100 students to perform in the choir and the band and the orchestra. Our foundation scholarships this year is $51,200. This is separate from the ensembles. We give 26 performances a year with just our ensembles. The 50 performances a year Dr. Probstfeld talked about includes all of the presidential groups in their run-out concerts. And by the way, of those 26 performances, number 10 is this Thursday. It's our Believe concert, as we discussed. She told you tickets are $15, but I put in a coupon code today. The code is Kiwanis, and you get 2 free tickets Thursday night. If you use that coupon code, I'm going to tell you later how to do it on your phone. I was thinking maybe we should do it now, but you got to go to a website. I'll tell you all about it. 3 performance spaces we'll talk about in a minute. We have 5 full-time faculty, 20 adjunct instructors, most of which teach private lessons and perform with the Sarasota Orchestra. And we are, as Dr. Probstfeld said, the #1 music program of all the state colleges in Florida. Look at all the performing groups that we have. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 is that? The Bradenton Symphony Orchestra, the Symphonic Band, the Big Band, which is our big jazz band, a jazz combo, concert choir, chamber choir, musical theater ensemble, the guitar ensemble. We have piano students that perform in all of these groups, plus solo performances. There was a big recital last night. And then the Presidential String Quartet and the Presidential Jazz Combo, who are available to play at your next wedding or bar mitzvah. This is our instrumental rehearsal room. This can seat about 85 musicians, wall to wall, front to back. It is a little deeper than this room and probably about as wide. We had it carpeted this year. If you look closely, you'll see all the percussion instruments in the back. This is where this is where I say this is where the magic happens, right? This is where the Bradenton Symphony rehearses, the symphonic band, the big band, the jazz combo, and then as community outreach, the Manatee Community Band. Some of you may have been to their performances. They rehearse here. And then some of you have maybe been to my Pops Orchestra concerts. They also rehearse here in our rehearsal room. So we're always grateful to be able to reach out to our performing arts organizations in our area and give them a space to rehearse and fine-tune their craft. We have now, thanks to our new studio for the performing arts, a choral rehearsal room. So this is the space for the concert choir, the chamber choir, which is like concert choir is like 70 people and a chamber choir is like 20 people. So that's the difference in those two. The musical theater ensemble, which just did The Mystery of Edwin Drood. They put on a full musical every fall, such an undertaking. And then the guitar ensemble rehearses in here. And if you go into this room and you maybe just go, oh, you'll feel like you're in some sort of Italian cathedral. The acoustics are just amazing. The brass players love rehearsing in there because they sound like, they sound much better than maybe they are. I don't know. This has been a real crown jewel and the impetus for the Beat Hunger concert that we started this year. And this is a separate space just for our percussion students and percussion ensemble. This is where we perform private percussion lessons. As you can imagine, drums are kind of loud. They need their own space. And there's 1,000 instruments. They need their own space. So this really has been a game changer for our percussion students at the State College of Florida. They practice in there. We have percussion ensemble now, and we put on an entire concert just for percussion because we have the use of this space. We have in the studio for the performing arts 2 instrument storage rooms. The State College of Florida has an inventory of 88 instruments that are valued at over $160,000. That does not include any of the pianos that we own, and I believe we own 48 pianos. It does not include any of the percussion equipment that we own. So these are just things like clarinets, flutes, trombones, tubas, trumpets, things like that. And now each one has its own dedicated locker, and as I tell the students, it even comes with a free lock. We don't charge a penny at the State College of Florida for students to use any of our instruments. It's completely free to them. I make them sign their life away that they won't pawn it or run it over with a car, but it's completely free to them. Many of you already know about our Neal Performing Arts Center. It houses 830 seats. It has the Elizabeth Eaton pipe organ, which you can see on the bottom photo there, valued at about $480,000. We'll be performing that pipe organ with the Bradenton Symphony Orchestra in April with Michael Stewart, who will be performing a Handel organ concerto that might kind of sound stuffy and not quite interesting, but let me tell you, just to come hear this instrument, it is worth your time. And we have a concert grand Steinway piano worth about $220,000, and it's, I don't know, it's 9.5 feet. It's huge. Sometimes I have to move it by myself. It's tough. I try not to wear my high heels that day. But you can see there on the bottom picture, Aza Torshgeva, one of our piano teachers, is there playing that piano. It may look a little odd to you, especially if you're sitting close, but for this performance, we actually removed the lid of the piano rather than prop it up. And I called that those topless piano concerts. That way the sound doesn't go anywhere. Okay. And then this is really the crown jewel of our new studio for the performing arts. This is our Recital Hall. It's 150 seats. It has a baby grand Steinway piano that we were able to purchase at a very discounted price from someone that was moving into assisted living. Our piano technician said, "This is the best piano I've ever worked on," and he sold it to us for $50,000. $50,000, but it was worth about $125,000. And this instrument, I don't play piano well, it makes me sound good. It is amazing. This space has state-of-the-art audio and video quality, so you can, for instance, I think there was a group that showed a film there, and we have a big screen, and it's like being at a movie theater. It's surround sound, it's amazing. And the acoustics of this new recital hall are, there's just no other word, it's just perfect. You can go in there and you could be standing at the very back and I could be standing at the very front and I could whisper and you can hear every word. It is just magnificently done. If you get a chance to come hear anything, even a speaker, please come join us in the new Recital Hall. It's just to the east of the Neal Performing Arts Center. People ask me all the time, well, what can your students do with a music degree? How can they make money and pay their taxes? After all, that is what life is about. And so, as we've already talked about with some of our students, they can be band directors, orchestra directors, choir directors in public or private schools, elementary music teachers. There's a vast need for that, actually. We have, I think in Manatee County, there's 6 elementary music jobs open right now that are not filled. They can be a performer like Nick wants to do. I can perform in an orchestra. I can be a soloist. I can perform for film or on Broadway. You can be music therapists. This is a huge degree. Therapy through music. Jobs everywhere. They can be a composer. I call myself a recreator, but they could be a creator, write the music from scratch. They can be a private teacher, one-on-one teaching on instruments. Music producer, and they're going to be better at this because with this huge gift we just got, we are now going to start in the fall an Associate of Science degree in music production and technology. And so we're going to have students that are coming to us just to learn how to set mic levels, record things like this. They're going to be able to produce records. And the industry is huge right now for learning how to do this. So we're very excited about that new program. That's going to include recording engineers, or all of our students really hope to be Broadway stars. We've got 2. So we're hanging our hats on them, but we have one right now, and that's what he says. I'm going to Broadway. What do you want to be? I'm going to Broadway. I say, I'd like to be an usher? No, I'm going to be on Broadway, he says. So we'll keep our eyes on Edgar. So I invite you to come visit us. And there's many ways to do it. Just stop in, we'll give you a tour. I'm a really good tour guide. You get candy at the end. No, you don't. You can watch a rehearsal. You could watch a rehearsal, which is a fascinating thing to see how all of this and all these moving parts come together. You could always attend a performance. We have so many, and I'm going to show you on your phone how you can see those and what you can pick. Our musicians are available for hire on our website. We have a gig board. You can post, I need musicians for this. The students will see it. They'll reach out to you. I say, okay, $1,000 an hour. Hey, that's a good deal. Not so much. You can donate to the SCF Music through SCF Foundation. You can sponsor a student. This is the Presidential String Quartet and Jazz Combo. We have individuals that donate that money and become sponsors of those individual students. They come to their performances. They take them to other performances in the area. They take them to dinner. One lady even helped a kid pick out a cello and drove him to a scholarship audition at USF. So you can have a real working relationship with our students. You can enrich your cultural life, very important. You can educate your soul, but more importantly, you can make a difference, because that's really what it's all about and what we're all about. The other thing through this gift that we got, I told you about the Associate of Science degree, we are going to start offering, we started last year with our chamber music camp, we're going to start offering a robust summer music camp program. Choir, band, orchestra, chamber music, jazz, piano. It's about to go nuts over there. And so you want to keep your eye out and your ears out, more importantly for all of that. And then, as Dr. Probstfeld talked about, I started the Suncoast Culture Club podcast. And if you're a podcast listener, all cool and hip, check that out, because we do podcast episodes on all of our concerts at the college, but we also do episodes on all of the cultural events that are going on in the area that I have time for. It was a little easier during the pandemic. Things have gotten nutty right now. But just tomorrow, there's going to be a podcast released about Cinderella that's opening here on Thursday. And the star of that, Katie Priest, is a graduate of SCF. And so I talked with her for about a half hour about her life and about the show. And if you're interested in seeing it, you kind of get an in-depth discussion. It's much better than reading about it in the paper, I promise. And I'm just excited to spend some time here with you today and talking about, I'm going to steal Dr. Probstfeld lines, my favorite subject, SCF music. So thank y'all for welcoming us. We enjoyed our time here, and the Kiwanis Club, you guys do so much great work. It was nice to see the high school students here too. Are there any questions? How many of you have been to some of our performances at the college? Oh, good. How about Pops orchestras? Have you been to the Pops shows? Couple? Well, Jane, good, good. All right, well, we've got some exciting stuff planned, and we're here to make your life better. And don't really worry so much about, I'm going to say this. The hall seats 830 people, and so far our biggest crowd this year has been about 210. You know what that means? There's plenty of room to space out. So if you want your social distancing, this is the concert to come to for certain. It's going to get, you better do it now, because I think it's going to get bigger and bigger as we go on. So thank you for having us, Dr. Probstfeld. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Speaker. And now we're doing the golden ruler to measure the future success.
Mr. Bell, could you come on up
Yes.
with all the students,
Yes. Thank you.
all the musicians. I'm gonna hand them out. Go down there and hand them out.
Measure your success.
Okay, thank you. So go ahead. Yeah, start right there. Just announce that. Just announce
I
and
gotta-
read that.
Well, I gotta give you something, so I'm gonna grab what I gotta give you.
Okay.
So, I gotta come close to the mic in order for you guys to hear me. So next, we have our new Key Club shirt that we are giving you today, Gilbert. So we have changed it up a little bit this year. We have the Key Club and then the Simply Service on the back. But this is your T-shirt.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Our next meeting will be December 7th, and it will be Assistant General Counselor Emily Hall with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We hope to see you then. Have a great rest of your week.
So, those of you that don't know, I'm the advisor to the Key Club the Manatee High School Key Club, and also our director of whatever we call it now, sponsored youth or youth leadership programs. There's been so many things since I've been the advisor that it's hard to keep up with. But you know, this is really, really a group effort, and the students do a wonderful job. You just kind of point them in the right direction, and off they go, and they do a great thing. But I'd be remiss if I didn't introduce our faculty advisors who help us out at school. We've got a couple of them now. Charlie Mills, who you've met over the years, has been. Charlie's been with us every step of the way, and although I know that he will help out and continue to help out, this will be Charlie's last year as faculty advisor. He's retiring. I hope you've told your boss that already. It's sitting right over here, by the way. But Charlie will be handing off the duties of that to Mr. Bokelman, who is around here somewhere. There he is. So thank you very much for stepping that up and doing it. It's a big responsibility for a club that's been around since 1940. It's very, very important and something that we've taken very seriously throughout the years and have done that. And then as well, starting next year, our satellite club member, Erin Craig, who's been with us now helping out the students as in her role as kind of my assistant as the Kiwanis advisor to Key Club, and she will be taking over my role after 27 years of doing it. So big responsibility, but thank you so much for stepping up and doing that next year. We won't be going too far, neither Charlie or I, so we'll be around to support you both, but we appreciate you stepping up to do that. So thank you all very much.
Okay, and the Key Club did a great job today. Please give them a round of applause. And see you next week. Go Bucks.